Hello and welcome. We are with Mark Vaessen, Global Head of IFRS at KPMG International. Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome.
Why is IFRS so exciting?
IFRS is very exciting because it's a global language, and it's great always to speak a global language because you can travel anywhere you want. And I think India going to IFRS is in that sense, you know, a real step towards being a part of the global family, and that's what I think is very exciting.
From the common investor's point of view, why is IFRS good or bad?
Well, investors now know IFRS. As I say, it's like speaking English. Now you speak IFRS, you understand what it is. If you speak a dialect of it, they may struggle with it. So investors really find IFRS well to understand, and that will actually also then reduce the risk for companies, and therefore they will be seen in a more positive light because of the use of IFRS and because of using that global language.
How ready do you think India is for this new convergence era?
I think there's a lot of work to be done because there's a lot of change in what IFRS requires or INT AS requires compared to what they're doing now. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of work to be done, and I think really, from my experience, a lot of education that needs to go in, and it's not only the accounting and reporting people, but also you need to educate board people, you need to educate the audit committee, and very important for CFOs to also make sure that your investors understand what's happening and what is changing. So the education effort is enormous. A lot of work that needs to be done.
Two lessons that India can learn from international examples like the EU or even Japan, who've embraced IFRS.
Yes, well, first of all, I would say it is important you go to INT AS, but also to have an option still to apply full IFRS, especially for those companies that play in the international capital markets. I think that's what Japan is doing, that's what the companies in Europe are doing. Many of them are using full IFRS, and I think that is at least something that you should give as an option. And otherwise, I think really start in time with implementing, but also with communicating to the markets, and that's what I've learned in all the years of implementing. You have to bring your investors along, because investors do not study accounting standards; they find that boring. So it is the company that needs to take them by the hand and tell them what is going to change.
So, what are the three challenges that Indian companies might face in making their accounts more interesting to investors?
Yeah, so I mean, I already talked about the challenge of the education, and that will take a lot of time. The challenge of communicating, and then obviously you have a lot of changes in the accounting itself. And I don't want to get technical, but certainly there will be a lot of areas. And M&A accounting, for example, if you do acquisitions, the accounting for it will be very different than the IFRS, and it will be what it's now. So you really have to understand the change, and then, as I say, tell the markets what is going to change.
Three reasons why Indian companies, should gear up for the IFRS regime.
Yeah, the benefits are clear from my perspective. We talked about the international recognition that you get from global investors. So that's I think the major benefit. It is also a benefit in having all the accountants in India trained in IFRS. You are a country that has a lot of outsourcing, and having that skill available to all the accountants will also give you new opportunities. Mm-hmm. And for companies themselves, they also will start managing your business on IFRS. So you will get, I think, better insights also into your own performance management.
The top two gaps that you see in the IFRS regime?
The top two gaps at the moment. Well, one is on lease accounting. There's a lot of off-balance sheet accounting still through lease accounting. Mm-hmm. The ISB is working on a standard, and that will come out later this year. Will draw a lot of attention. Not everyone will like it, but it will bring more liabilities onto the balance sheet. The other gap, the real gap, is insurance accounting, because there's nothing for insurers at the moment, and again, that's something that will come out this year or next, and so that will be the other gap that will be closed.
How easy will it be for India to implement the IFRS regime?
It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of study, but I'm confident that you can do it, because I think there's a lot of drive behind it, and from how I know the Indians, a lot of hard work can be produced in a very short time.
All right, Mark, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you.